Reynolds here. We are on tour stop number 4 of 9 in our 2022 Great American Supercomputing Road Trip. And we're about 1,500 miles in. We're at NREL with Ray Grout. How you doing, Ray?
I'm doing great.
Yeah? Having fun today?
Always having fun when I'm doing my job.
Well, there you go. I like that attitude. That's what makes Great American Supercomputing so great and so American. And super. Yeah, it's weak. That was weak, but let's go ahead and drive on and get past it. So can you give us a brief overview for those that aren't familiar of the lab and what you do here?
Yeah, so NREL is dedicated, the mission is the pursuit of renewable energy, energy efficiency technologies. We're cross-cutting. I'd say the lab strategy kind of areas we focus on are grouped largely into integrated energy pathways, electrons to molecules, and circular economy. So integrated energy pathways, we imagine that's sort of the grid, the renewable power generation, all the things around decarbonizing the electricity sector. The electrons to molecules are the sort of the next step. What do you do with all those green electrons when you have already met your electricity needs? How do we look at industrial decarbonization, manufacturing, those types of things? And then circular economy is what do we do with all those, all the stuff that's left over? And at NREL, computing is kind of a cross-cutting capability that we use in pursuit of all of those.
Very cool, very cool. So what kind of compute resources are you using to help accomplish these missions?
So we have a variety of things. We operate as the supercomputer dedicated to fulfilling the EERE, that's the part of DOE that does energy efficiency and renewable energy mission. And we operate that for the benefit of all of the EERE program across the complex. It's about an 8 petaflop machine in that room over there behind you.
Nice.
We also have a variety of smaller cluster type.
Was that Peregrine that you're referring to?
That's Eagle is the current machine.
Eagle. Okay, it's been a while since I've been here.
It has, yes. Peregrine gave many years of great service and has now been retired. Eagle is
the current machine. Garage somewhere? You guys have a big storage shed that you keep this stuff in?
That, I believe, has been accessed, and actually pieces have been recycled, and it is no longer here.
Hold those thoughts, because I know some folks that could use your recycled computers.
Okay.
That would do a good thing for society as well.
All right, we'll have to talk more about that afterwards. Yeah, so that's Eagle. We've got some smaller clusters we operate for particular clients, and then for NREL internal use, we have an OpenStack cluster that is kind of our view on where things are going. We can maybe talk more about later on.
We've got a little something new coming in too, don't we?
We do. Kestrel is right around the corner. Kestrel is about 5.5 times the size of Eagle, and we are very excited to get that one deployed.
Size. Is that a straight computer, or is it a heterogeneous system?
It is accelerated more aggressively than Eagle is, so that will be a transition and an opportunity.
What are we using for accelerators in that? Is that public or not?
They're GPU based.
GPUs, okay. Not going to go any farther?
Not going to go any further. However, Aaron Anderson, our operations manager, I believe, is going to give a talk in the DOE booth at Supercomputing. I think on Tuesday morning.
So find out then, perhaps.
Perhaps.
Or perhaps not. We shall see. But are most of your tasks, of the computational tasks, are they accelerator friendly?
Yes, generally we've got a lot of enthusiasm for accelerators. As you know, we're quite passionate about energy efficiency here, so more flops per watt is a good thing. More useful flops per watt is an even better thing.
That's a good thing.
We have several researchers here that are already using sort of X-scale computing, developing codes that are targeting GPUs natively. Our AI researchers have grown to be quite fond of our GPU capability.
Well, and that was the next question too. How deep are your folks into machine learning to help inform your simulations and things?
Very.
Very.
I'll give you a little more than that. So we have a lot of enthusiasm for AI. It sort of emerged very grassroots at NREL as just the way we do our jobs, yet another tool. recently established a kind of anchor group in we're calling AI learning and intelligent systems. Really reflects that one of the challenges of renewable energy is that it's a very complex system. It's hard to understand. It's hard to control, and we have a lot of data, very rapid data streams. Some of NREL's new initiatives we're looking at are grid scale interaction of renewable energy technologies, and in a lot of these places for control, for understanding, for being able to kind of characterize rich data streams. We found a lot of applications of AI. We also have kind of what we're calling an incubator that's looking at green AI, so reducing the power consumption of the AI algorithms themselves, what can be done. And that in turn makes them more suitable for deployment at the edge. We get to look at energy cost in the data center, and there's a lot of exciting things in that avenue that we're interested in.
And of course, although we can't look at any systems right now, you're under construction, but you've been a leader in liquid cooling. Yeah. You were doing liquid cooling before it was cool to do.
We did do liquid cooling before it was cool, or in this case, warm.
Yes.
So yes, Eagle is warm water cooled. So Kestrel will also be warm water cooled.
What sort of PUE are you going to pull with Kestrel? Any idea?
So Eagle is around 1.03.
Yeah.
And that's sort of
that's an improvement over when I was here in 2018. That's significant improvement.
That's kind of the type of numbers that we like. Obviously, we'd like to go beyond that, but we'll see.
Heard of a little company that does two-phase direct water block liquid cooling, which is kind of interesting, but I have a feeling you've already heard of it.
We are interested in a whole range of cooling technology.
Your beaks in a number of ponds.
Yeah.
Okay, that one was interesting because I hadn't heard of anybody doing two-phase water block. Two-phase immersion, sure. But water block is great because you don't need to use that much Novec or Fluorinert or whatever they're using. So, yeah, maybe we're thinking about the same person. I'm sworn to silence. But
we'll see. There's a lot of interesting things happening in high-density cooling.
There's some interesting stuff happening with computer architectures, too, with, for instance, CXL. Coming on and talking about being able to compose compute instances that match up really much better with your applications other than, a typical two-way, 2 GPU server. Is that something you guys are investigating at all?
It's not specifically. So the trend towards this sort of trade-off between specialization and general purpose performance is super interesting.
Yes.
And at NREL, it's kind of funny for a computing center, but we're interested not in computing for computing's sake, we're interested in getting the mission advanced.
Yes.
So we track a lot of things where we say, okay, well, does this provide value for our researchers? Does this let us get more done than we could without it? And, in general, I'm really interested in this kind of where the trade-off lies, where the split goes between sort of specialization, single task performance, and overall workload. I think it's worth watching. I think there's some interesting research trends in terms of specialty hardware that we're tracking.
Well, that's true too.
Overall, I'm kind of interested in this sort of when you look at the layout of data and processing, how do you end up commingling those? What does the kind of optimal solution look like? And we'll see where the industry goes.
Now, it's interesting that I've been keeping in mind for this specific stop because 3 times so far on my stops and also on a conference I spoke at in the UK, the idea came up that scientists want to know the cost of their specific simulation or run in energy in terms of electricity.
Fascinating.
Yeah, have you heard that before?
I have. Well,
it's the first time for me.
Interesting. So that was something we have started to do, and we aren't reporting it to our users yet. But one of the things that we talk about is that, talk about your job taking, so many node hours, so many, CPU core hours. Should also be talking about, how many kilowatt hours did it take?
Yeah, and there's I think this goes a little far, but in the UK, one facility was talking about we're going to show them in terms of how many houses could be powered if they didn't do this run.
Right.
To kind of, I guess, I mean, to me, it would be a guilt thing. But, you know, do I really need to
it's
do
a
work
resource
today?
trade-off, right?
It's a trade, but it always has been.
Yeah.
It just, they didn't know how much resources, but it's hard to put a price on science, too.
It is. It's, you know, we have to be careful, right? Because one end of the equation, it's fairly easy to quantify, at least for, you know, instrument and center, it's easy to quantify how much energy something takes.
Yeah.
What we don't get into is the, you know, value judgment of what else could be done.
That's the part where it gets kind of uncomfortable, I think.
Right.
Because it's not like however many homes in the UK, it's not like they're having their power taken away from them if you run this simulation. So,
Yeah.
anyway,
So what we try and
okay.
do is, you know, with all our systems, we try and drive the energy footprint down as low as we can. We try and advance algorithms in a way that reduces the cost of computing so we can all get all those, more of all the great benefits of computing. And then, you know, we try and share with our users insight so that they can tell if they're doing something more efficient than not. And that's probably on our near-term roadmap.
What about, speaking of roadmaps, quantum?
This is an interesting area. It's definitely something we're exploring. At the moment, we're not quite ready to trade in our conventional computers.
No, that I was not expecting you to say, we're in, we're all in, we're getting rid of all this stuff, gonna get a quantum. D-Wave, give me a call. Didn't expect that, okay. What about exascale? Is that in the
Exascale?
roadmap ever?
So a lot of our researchers, you said, are developing codes targeted at exascale computing and making use of the kind of first out of the gate exascale machines.
Frontier and,
As I said, we're, you know, with Kestrel, we're going definitely more accelerated computing. And, you know, so far the need for computing seems to be more or less insatiable. So
so if we threw down a 500 petaflop machine here, you'd fill it up.
so far we haven't had any trouble filling all the machines we've deployed.
Not surprising. Now, I assume you're going to SC22.
Actually, I can't go this year, but several people from this organization are going to be there.
You gonna do it virtually or anything?
I'll take a look virtually.
Okay. Any particular announcements or
So you know
upcoming features you're?
yeah. So
looking
the
forward
well,
to?
so the things I'm excited about is every time the computing industry hits a big milestone, you know, the earlier career folks, I see a sense of excitement that they get to share.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
kind of reflecting back to the major milestones we passed
I
during my
really-
career and
oh,
excitement
yeah.
at supercomputing.
I
Yeah.
remember both when we hit PETA, but particularly hitting EXA at ISC. There were some really excited, pumped up people.
Exactly. So I'm excited to see what the sort of earlier career folks get excited to do, sharing that excitement.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, getting towards the end here, here's a big question.
Okay.
Imagine that through the miracle of this camera, that you're addressing the entire HPC vendor community, all of them, soup to nuts. What do you need or want from them in 3 years? And the 3 years is in there specifically because there's not much they can do to change course in the next 12 or 18 months. But in 3 years, they can do a lot of different things. What do you want?
You know what? So I want flexibility, scalability, and I want the potential to really address some of the big societal challenges. Right? I mean, that's what drives us at NREL. We're not, like I said, we're not really into computing for computing's sake. We're into
Yeah.
computing of excitement to advance the missions, create a better world for our kids, see what we can do, and really advance that.
What would give you more useful computers?
Well, so like I say, there's always the more and bigger. There's the energy efficiency, the density, so we can put more in our existing facilities, reduce power consumption. And there's this, helping researchers get the benefit and performance payoff of specialization, instill in something that we can make use of across a wide user community.
But not too specialized.
Too specialized.
Specialized enough,
Exactly.
but not too.
Exactly.
Okay. What is it that excites you about the future of supercomputing?
Supercomputing? So I have seen.
Or, I mean, I know you don't do computing for computing's sake. So
Well,
let's
okay,
keep-
so I do a little bit of computing for computing's sake. So-
I'm looking you right in the eye.
Yeah.
You love this.
I do. I get excited about this.
Faster.
You know, in the last couple of years, so I went to grad school some time ago to do, and what I wanted to do was near first principles calculation of alternative fuels combustion.
That's everybody's dream, sure.
That's what I wanted to do a
Common
long time
knowledge.
ago. And I made some progress to that. And, in the last couple of years, I've actually seen, like out of the X-Scale Computing project, results that were more or less what I aspired to do when I went to grad school.
Wow.
And the rate and the pace of those types of results, I think it's no longer, well, way back when I was in grad school, I wanted to do this thing and now we can, right? Now it's like the pace of these things dropping out. Okay, now we can do this, now we can do that, right? Is accelerating, and I can't wait to see what comes in the next couple of years.
It's going to be amazing.
I think we're just getting started.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time and the hospitality.
Thanks for coming to visit.
Yeah, we'll be back through in a long, long time probably.
All right.
This is a grueling trip. I only have
Well.
so many of these left. But thank you again, Ray. Much appreciated.
Enjoy the rest of your trip.
500 miles of open road, and I'm driving down the highway to